I've been straightening up in the kitchen this morning. I actually went through my pantry and 2 of my cabinets up there. I need to go through more, trying to rearrange. And if you're like me, I have it all organized like I do right now, and then I'm the one that does it. I come home with groceries and I'm going to put something on one of those shelves and I just stick it instead of actually making sure that I'm putting it in the same place, thinking about keeping all your whatever it is, canned fruits, canned beans, or rice, or whatever it is all together. I'm bad to just stick it, and then what happens over the course of, a few months, more than that sometimes, is that everything just gets jumbled up and then you don't even know what you've got. So I feel very accomplished that I've done the pantry and 2 cabinets up here. Actually, 3 cabinets, because I did one of the ones on the bottom. So I've got much more I could do though. Those kind of things, if you live in a house long term and if you're somebody that cooks from scratch a lot, I find for me, those are the things I have to do over and over and over. Probably if I was real organized as I went, I wouldn't, that would be easier for me to keep it all straight, but I'm not one of those people. So anyway, that's done. I've got some other stuff I've got to do today. I've got to take some cookbooks to the post office. I want to go sit with Granny for a little bit, for a while, and see how she's doing. But I've got to start thinking about supper. I've got green beans in here, and I'm looking down and I see some strings, and I can't blame that on nobody but me. I'm the one that strung the green beans. This will be our last, and it's very few. There's not much in here, barely covering the bottom of the pot, but this will be our last fresh green beans for this year. I love the smell of fresh green beans when they're, I do mine the way Granny done hers. It's not necessary. A lot of people don't do it, but we boil them after we wash them, break them and wash them, and they're clean as we can get them, but bring them to a boil, pour that water off, and then start again. And then that's the long cook. We like to cook them a long time. But that smell of the boiling beans, the fresh ones, it just smells so good. And I know how tasty they'll be, but I guess too it makes me think of home, growing up with the same smells going on in Granny and Pap's house. Anyway, so I've got my green beans. I've got some bacon in here. I'm going to put some water, maybe put a little bit of salt, and get them on the stove and just kind of let them cook slow the rest of the day. I'm going to make for supper, I've got some chicken laid out, and I've got some in the refrigerator, but I'm going to make one of the recipes that I love, but it's in mine and Jim's cookbook, but I'll share more about it later in the day. I don't need to get it started right now, but it's really just baked chicken with gravy, so it's really easy. It makes its own kind of little gravy, and then the chicken's baked in that. It's just wonderful. You eat over rice or eat it with mashed potatoes is probably what I'll make. There's 2 other things I want to make, thinking about the end of the garden stuff. I want to make a carrot salad. I've done a video about that before. You probably remember it. Really, really simple. That recipe's in the cookbook too, mine and Jim's cookbook. But I need celery to go in it, and I don't have any. So when I'm at Granny's, I'll see if I can borrow some from her. She usually buys celery every week. She cooks with it a lot. And I know that because I get her groceries. So she's probably got, I just need a little bit. So she's probably got some that I can have, I hope. So I want to do that with some of our carrots and some of our peppers that we grew this year. We picked the rest of the peppers. That's it for the fresh peppers. That's all we'll have. And then I hope, it frosted last night, but I hope that I can go out there in the garden and kind of underneath the Malabar spinach gets so thick when it grows over the arch that we have it on every year, that often it takes 2 or 3 good frosts before it kills it all. So I hope I can kind of weave in the places that might have got bit last night and find enough of that to make Matt one more pan of creamed spinach he's been asking for. And I guess I'll have to have either cornbread or biscuits to go with it. I may take a poll on that. Anyway, I'm going to get my green beans started. I'm going to go see Granny, go to the post office, other few things I've got to do, and then this evening I will show you how to put together the chicken and the carrot salad, although I've already done that in a video and it's super, super simple. It's later in the day, time for me to finish supper. Had a great visit with Granny, got all my cookbooks shipped and a few other things done, so it's been a really, really good day. And of course Granny did have the celery. I've got it laying over there. On the way home, Katie said, we drove down there since with the babies and it's cold outside, and she said, why is there some celery beside me in the seat? I said, because it's mine. I had to borrow it from Granny for supper. Of Corey went with us, and Corey brought, they're gonna come and eat tonight for supper with us, but she actually brought our dessert, so brought it and give it to me. So wasn't gonna have any dessert. I thought about a cobbler, but I didn't have time probably, but Corey's filled in our dessert with some pumpkin strudel, so that will be delicious, I know. So I'm going to get my chicken in the oven and then get all the other stuff done while it's cooking. So this is oven chicken with gravy. Makes it easy because you put it all in there and then don't have to worry about it. But it does get it there. You got to get it to where you can put it in there first. There's a little bit to do, in other words, before you get there. So I will link to this recipe so that you can just go over to my blog and look at it, but I will read it out for you too. And that link will be in the description below. So we're going to need 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons garlic powder divided, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon paprika, salt and pepper to taste, 6 bone-in chicken thighs or other cuts may be used. I thought that's what I got from the grocery store. These are actually boneless, but they will work just fine, so other cuts may be used. 1/4 cup oil, whatever you prefer. I'm using olive oil. 1 onion chopped, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of chicken stock, and 1/2 cup of milk. So we're going to combine the flour, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, salt, and pepper. And we're going to set aside 2 tablespoons of that whole mixture. We're going to dredge the chicken pieces in flour mixture, heat oil, and brown both sides of chicken in an oven-safe pan. A deep cast iron pan works well, but whatever you have. Remove chicken from pan, add onion to hot pan, and stir until tender, about 3 minutes. Add thyme, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder that you saved back there, and butter. Stir into melt butter. I'm going to have to turn the page here, and this is on page 63. Add reserved flour mixture and cook while stirring for 2 minutes. Add chicken stock slowly and stir well to prevent lumping. Add milk and continue stirring. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Continue cooking until the mixture begins to boil and thickens just slightly, like you're making gravy. At that point, place the chicken pieces back in gravy, cover, put in the oven, and bake at 400 degrees for an hour. So now now that I've read it to you, and again I'll link to the recipe so that you don't have to write all that down, so it'll be easier than you trying to write while I'm talking. But now I'm going to go over to the stove and get it started. Okay, I've got the oil heating in the pan, and now we're going to put our flour out. This is 1 tablespoon of our garlic powder. This is the onion powder and the paprika. And then salt and pepper to taste. I probably put 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper and about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Mix that up a little bit. And we're going to get out 2 tablespoons of that and save it. I'm going to do that real quick. And then I've got my oil heating up in there. I'm going to start dredging my chicken and just putting it right in there to cook. You could do this in a bag if you wanted to and not get your hands dirty like I'm doing, but just do whatever works for you. Let's see if our oil's getting there. Okay, that's my last piece I was browning. Now I'm going to put the onions in there. And let them cook just a few minutes. I'm actually going to add a little bit more oil. You may need to do that too. I'm going to add the thyme, the rest of the garlic powder. Whoops, not to keep some of it. And the butter. Smells really good. I wish you could smell it. I guess better than that, I should wish you could taste it, huh? Once it's all done. I'm going to add the rest of the flour mixture we got out and cook it for about 2 minutes while stirring. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes. I'm going to start adding the chicken stock. And I'm going to add the milk. You can taste it to see if you need to season more with salt and pepper. It may be flavorful enough, but you can take a little taste and see. Tastes pretty good to me. I don't think I'm going to add any more. I'm just going to let it cook for a minute or so till it starts to get thick. Now, depending on how many pieces of chicken you have or how thick you batter it, you dredge it, you may have some left over. So a good tip is to mix all that stuff up and then use a little bit of it at a time. And that way, if you don't use it all, you could just put it up for the next time you make this recipe. If you put the chicken all through all of it, you wouldn't want to save it like that because it'd be contaminated. But if you just use, like, say, half of it or something, or a third of it, and see how far it goes, depending on if you're using less chicken or your chicken pieces are bigger, or you don't coat it as thickly as I do or something like that, or maybe you cook it, you do more and you'll need extra, all that's just a tip, though, that you could do it that way, and that way you wouldn't be wasting any of the leftover mixture. Now, when it comes to putting it in the oven, there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can put the pieces back in here and put this whole pan in the oven, if it's an oven-safe pan. But if you have too many pieces, or if your pan's not big enough and it, you wouldn't want this to seep out the top of it, you can also put it in a baking dish. Just put the chicken or pour this in a baking dish and then set the chicken pieces in the middle of it. I've done both, depending on the amount of chicken that I have. I'm afraid tonight that I'm going to have to put it in a baking dish, though, because I don't want it to run over. Okay, it started to thicken, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and pour this into I got out one of my baking dishes here. I'm going to pour the gravy into this. I'm trying not to spill it. And I'm going to put the chicken pieces down in there. Get all those juices that come out of them while they were sitting there. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to put it in the oven for an hour, let it cook, and then I'm going to get started on the other stuff that I need to do to finish up supper. So I'm going to whip up my carrot salad. I've got a video on it. I could link to it, but it's so super simple. So I'm excited, though, that these are our carrots. So the recipe is a cup of carrots, a cup of celery, a cup of peppers, red, green, whatever you like, sweet peppers, and a cup of apples. I think I said that all. Peppers, apples, celery, and carrots. It's so easy. just all of that, and then you just mix mayonnaise with it to taste, and salt and pepper. So super simple. So you could increase one item if you liked it. You can make a whole lot, you know, 3 or 4 cups of each, ever how you want to do it. It's so simple to do. So I've probably got a little bit more of the carrots than a cup, but I'm going to go for it. Thanks to Granny, I've got the celery. That piece has got a bad place on it that I didn't see. Get my scrap bowl there. And I'd say I've got more than a cup of apples too. This is the last of our fresh peppers too. I've got a few more, just 2 or 3 more over there, but this is, there won't be no more getting any outside. They'll be gone till next year. So I'm going to stir it up together, and then I'll add me some mayonnaise. As I throw some at you, throw some at the camera. I'll get me some salt and pepper. You could put other seasonings in it if you wanted to or needed to. Put some fresh, thinking about, you could put basil in it, cilantro. I couldn't put cilantro or I'd be the only one that would eat it. But get me some mayonnaise here. Start out with just a little. I'm going to have to start out with more than that though. Okay. And I've talked myself out of mashed potatoes just because it's at the end of a long day and I'm tired. So instead I'm going to make rice, which will be just super easy. I can do that in the Instapot. So the only other thing, I've got my green beans still just kind of simmering away, that I need to do is the spinach. And I was going to go out and get me some, but look how nice Katie was. She went and got it for me, so I don't even have to go out and do that. She's been harvesting a lot of the spinach this year and drying it. We've never really preserved it anyway. The Malabar spinach, we just eat it fresh or cooked like I'm going to do it tonight. I mean fresh as in we cook it or we put it in salads is what I should say. But I've never tried to preserve it. But Katie's worked hard on that this year, so I'm really thankful for her doing that, and I know we'll all enjoy it. So she's just been drying it and then making it into powder so that we can add it to soups or stews, or you could add it to pasta. You could certainly add it to smoothies and things like that. So this salad would have been better if I made it early this morning. Of course I didn't because I didn't have any celery. But as it sits and marries, as Matt would say, it gets better. But let me taste a little bit of it here. Let's see if I can get I got some celery and some apple. Maybe I got an apple and some carrots there. Let me try it. It's good. It'll be better after it marries a little bit, but you don't think all those flavors would go together, but they really do. They really do. It's really good. So that will add a real freshness to the really savory, the chicken and the rice, green beans and spinach, but this will really cut the savoriness of the chicken, so I know it'll be really good. So now I just need to get my spinach and get my rice. I need to time it just right. I've got a little bit more time. Of course, what I need to do also is cornbread. I'm going to make some cornbread. I should ask though if people would rather have cornbread or biscuits. Maybe I'll ask. Katie's not eating them, either one. I don't know, she might eat. No, she wouldn't eat neither one because I'd put dairy in both of them. I'll ask Matt and get Corey to ask Austin and see what Corey wants, and then I'll decide if I want to make biscuits or if I want to make cornbread. I've got the rice started. I've got cornbread in the oven. Matt and Austin wouldn't say what they wanted, and Corey said she wanted cornbread, but she didn't care. And I said, well, since you're the only one that said, we'll go with cornbread. So Matt and Austin said they were fine with that too. So I'm just roughly chopping up my spinach here. I've got my big frying pan over there, and I put some olive oil and some butter. Sometimes I use one or the other. Sometimes I use a mixture. And I will just put this in there and cook it till it cooks down some, and then I'll pour some cream in it, heavy whipping cream, and just that will be the creamed spinach. It's really simple. You can add some salt and pepper to taste. You can add anything you wanted to. Sometimes I add a pinch of nutmeg. I think that tastes really good. Somehow goes with it. I'm so glad Katie done this for me, because I might have give up on this too, like I did the mashed potatoes. But it will be really good. Malabar spinach does have some of the sliminess like okra has, but once it's cooked, it's gone. You don't notice it a bit. Okay, I think we're ready for the stove.
Time to feed me. Oh, layers of cream spinach. Ain't no use doing that.
Yep, you asked for it, I did it.
Mercy.
Your wish is my command. Actually, Katie helped. She picked it, went out and got it. So I didn't even have to go out in the cold.
Lovely example of a fine lady.
Thanks, Dad. See, the chicken turns out really soft and well done, but also all that wonderful gravy, which goes perfectly over rice or mashed potatoes. I just give out on the mashed potatoes.
Golly, it's good. What do we got here?
Carrot salad.
Carrot salad, my favorite.
Last of the green beans, last of the fresh ones for this year.
It'll be it till next year.
I apologize for my dog.
That bowl must be for me.
You must think so. Hey, this stuff right here is good.
What is that?
Corey made that. It is pumpkin streusel.
Oh,
It's good.
we're trying that here, sure.
You're gonna like that. I had 2 squares of it last night.
Sounds mighty good.
This chicken looks awful good.
Oh yeah.
This chicken thighs or breast.
I ain't even sure what it is.
By the shape and size, it almost looks like thighs.
But it's got plenty of gravy around it, that's what counts.
Yes. Some of that's going on the cornbread.
Did not know that.
It turned out to be a very nice meal. I do kind of wish I'd made the mashed potatoes, but the rice will be good too.
Any of that.
Got apples and stuff in it. Good.
Go back when I got more room on my plate.
That gravy would be good on the cornbread too. So I hear good compliments coming from the table, so that's good. It's always a good sign. Let me taste the chicken, see what I think about it. Good flavor, really, really tender, and really hearty and comforting on a cold evening like tonight. Really good. I know the green beans will be good. Spinach is good too. I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make this chicken. It's so easy. Kind of a little prep work to begin with. Then once you put it in the oven, it just does all the work itself. Really great if you just put it over rice, mashed potatoes, or by itself would be okay over a piece of homemade bread or over the cornbread. This is a really good supper, but it's kind of bittersweet in one way, knowing that that's the last of the green beans and last of this, maybe the last of the spinach. If it frosts again tonight, which it probably will, it takes about 2 or 3 good frosts to actually kill it all because of the underneath. It's so thick that some of the underneath still stays green and nice. But Katie has preserved some of it for us this year, which is good. And of course we've preserved we've got lots of jars of green beans that we can enjoy this winter. It's just something really special about it when it's fresh, straight from the garden. The peppers and the green beans and all that just makes it extra special. So if you try the chicken, I sure do hope you like it. I'll leave the link to mine and Jim's cookbook in the description below. And I'm always glad when you stop by to help me celebrate Appalachia.